Go Jackets.
All right, what's going on? Welcome to WreckTalk. Not as jovial as I normally am. It's like 5 in the morning, Sunday morning. And look, it's tough to be a Tech fan. It's a tough loss. I'll do a whole video going over the game, my thoughts on the game. But I thought I'd react to the Brent press conference. If you're a Tech fan, I'll do a members-only video where I react to the players' interviews. They're on here. And, if it wasn't embarrassing enough, what we saw on the field against Boston College, another embarrassing home loss, the third time in the Brent Key era thus far that we've taken a home loss while being a favorite. The audio, first of all, only comes through one side of your headset, so it's like totally mono, one channel. And you can't hear it. And this is on the official Georgia Tech YouTube page. You can't hear it. So this is probably the place to watch the interview if you can suffer through my ignoramus commentary on it, because I do you the favor and the service of cranking up the gain so that you can actually hear it. It's embarrassing. We're an engineering school. We can't get the audio right on our own press conference. Maybe it's like SpongeBob in the Bubble Bowl when they're practicing, and Squidward's like, well, maybe if we play so softly, no one will hear us. Is that what's going on here? Like, look, put me on your payroll, Georgia Tech Athletics. I'll help you with your audio issues. Like, how could you upload this and not listen to it and realize your audio's messed up? Like, I get, you can convert it to where it's stereo, 2-channel, we can hear it, and you can crank the gain up on it. I'll show you here. I'm not going to mess, it's still going to come out of one side of your headset. But here's the thing. I'm going to be pretty critical of the coaching staff here. But I think it's due. I get it's year one. And there's really nothing you can say here, right? You can say the wrong thing. You can say things that are like objectively worse than others, but there really is no right thing to say. I said this, this is the last thing I'll say, and we'll play the interview. After the Bowling Green loss, and really after even the Louisville loss and the Ole Miss loss, you can't, keep crapping the bed, not playing 4 quarters of football, just totally sleeping through one defensively or offensively, or just not play an entire half or an entire quarter. I said, you can't keep doing that, coming out in a press conference and saying, yep, we're going to fix it, it's going to be better, we're going to address it in the practice, whatever, and then not see it on the field. I'm over that. I'm over it. All right, so let's see what he has to say.
We went into a game where we knew it was going to be a 4-quarter game, going to be a tight ball game and a physical game. I thought in stretches in the game, I thought we answered and did some of those things. In a game where it's going to be a 4-quarter game, you're going to play the whole game, and everything we talk about, everything we work on, everything we coach.
First of all, every game's at a minimum of a 4-quarter game. Already, it just kind of seems like I don't really know what he's saying anyway.
During the weeks, and then you get to really the end of the third, and there's a couple minutes to go in the third quarter. Right at the beginning of the fourth, you go up, you go up a score, and then they turn around and go right down the field. And
now what happened is we got outscored, 21-0 in the fourth quarter. We outscored them 13. They had 13 unanswered points in the third quarter. Then we had 21 unanswered in the fourth against us. Same thing. We hear all this 60 minutes, playing independent of a clock or whatever, and we continue to not do it.
That was the disappointing part, was the fourth quarter. And
yeah,
we got a lot of work to do. We got a long way to go with building this team the way that it can be built, the way that I know that it can be built, and the way that it is supposed to be done. right? So, you know, we gave up 300 yards rushing, and I think 150 of them were in the fourth quarter.
Yep. By the way, we gave up 560 some. I think it might have been 560 even yards of offense. That has to be their best offensive showing all year. I don't think they put that up against Florida State. And that's the frustrating thing. People come to Bobby Dodd, offenses have just absolute, and teams in general, best games of their season are at Bobby Dodd Stadium. Why we can't protect our own stadium, why we can't show up to play, in front of our home fans in a friendly environment, I don't understand it.
So, that comes back to a lot of reasons, which we'll address those, fully tomorrow throughout the entire day. On the flip side, you have three turnovers. Excuse me, 3 turnovers.
Yeah, no, it's tough to get out. 3 turnovers again. And I believe he ends up talking about it. Two fumbles that we recovered. So 5 times, like turnover situations. 2 of them were just fumbles we ended up recovering. It's a complete regression on the offensive side of the ball.
2 more fumbles that were on the ground that we ended up recovering, but nonetheless the ball was on the ground. In 3 of those 3 turnovers, 1 of them went for a touchdown.
Yep.
And then one of them's going in, as we're driving to go right at the fringe of the red area. So, situationally, you're not staying on the field when we need to be offensively. Getting a flow of the game where we're consistently staying on the field, right, moving the chains. You can't play the game and go, one really good drive and then, have a 3 and out and go 5 yards. You can't do that.
Yeah, I mean, here's the thing. I know what he's saying about situationally. Here's the thing. There's never a situation where a turnover doesn't hurt. At a minimum, it stalls out a drive. And you generally, not all the time, but you give the team pretty good field position. And you always put your defense in a bad spot where they've got to get up, get out, get on the field. I forgot I got my washing machine going. Anyways.
That and all of those things happen. So, like I said, we've got a lot of work to do.
Let me turn that off.
A lot of things we can get better at. Myself, number one, and we will go to work tomorrow to get these things fixed. But again, very disappointed in the way we consistently played in the football game. But really in that fourth quarter is the really disappointing part. So with that, open for any questions.
With that, I'll say this. Let me, I went hard in the paint here. Let me go back a little bit. I said this in the live show. First and foremost, everyone who's saying fire Brent Key, stop. Stop. That's something a Miami fan would say. That's something the crazed, brain-addled fans of like the SEC do. We're not firing Brent Key, 7 games in to his first year as a head coach. That's silly. All right? And go ahead and play that all the way through. Play the tape through on that. Okay, you fire Brent Key. Well, let's say you fire him right now. You owe him like $10 million plus? So now you've committed to paying coaches who don't coach for you $21 million because we still owe Jeff 11 or however much we paid him from that. Then you're going to have to pay out all the staff that's going to turn over for the second year in a row. You're going to have pretty much an entirely new coaching staff. So you probably end up paying, I don't know, $15, $16 million there. You're $300 million in debt. And then who are you going to hire that's going to want to have anything to do with Georgia Tech when you fired a coach 7 games in? And already at a school that I think it's very difficult to be a head coach at for several different reasons. We won't go into it here. So stop typing that. Let someone smarter type. Let the right guy type. All right? If you really think that's the solution, like I don't know what to tell you. And also realize it is year one. It's almost an entirely new coaching staff. Brent Key hasn't been a head coach before. I still think he's the right guy for the job. All right, there's going to be a learning curve for him at the helm. All right, we are building. All right, and I'm as guilty as anyone for probably overhyping this and thinking we were going to come out and not drop eggs and have bad losses in the first year. We have a lot of young kids playing. There's a lot of talented kids on this team. All right, that need to get more snaps under their belt. And I'm not just going to throw them under the bus. All right, these young kids that are struggling to find their way, or not even struggling to find their way. Every player has to go through this. All right, we still, we have a new system offensively, so we need 1 or 2 recruiting classes to get those kids in that fit the scheme and develop the kids that we have. All right, I'm not giving up on Georgia Tech. I'm a Georgia Tech fan. If Jeff Collins' nonsense didn't run me off, this won't either.
This seemed like another game in the fourth quarter. Your guys kind of, I want to use the term let go of the rope or whatever you want to use, whatever term. Defensively in particular, just not giving up long touchdowns in situations where it's 4th and short or whatever. Like, what can you attribute some of that to? It just
10 guys on the field, one.
Oh, was that?
Okay. Yeah, a couple times. Right.
Yeah, I lost my mind when I saw someone mentioned Kelly Quinlan reported that.
So when I said everyone has things we have to get better at, all right, that starts with me. Right. That starts with the coaching on the field. Right. That starts with substitutions and getting the right people on, but it also starts with players, all right, going on the field and doing their job. All right, so when I say collectively all of us, it's collectively all of us, all right, that have to look in the mirror and get these things fixed. So, you can't play the game like that. You can't play.
Yeah, that's a shocker. Turns out you can't play very effective defense when you have 10 players on the field. Call the press, honey. I've got news. It's going to make us rich. No one knows this. That's the kind of thing I talked about on the live streams I did post-game. I don't understand. All right? And it is a collective thing. We had massive issues substituting in this game. We would come out, when we came out of the third quarter to start the fourth, you have 5 minutes or so to figure out what the hell you're doing. And 2 and 3 seconds before Boston College snaps the ball, we got people running on and off the field like it's a Chinese fire drill. I feel like in that situation as a coaching staff, you have like 3 or 4 defensive plays. If they line up this way, I want this defensive call. If they line up a different way, we're going to do this defensive call. Like, you have time to sort that out. And there's one voice on the defense that's going to make that call, right? This is what's disappointing for me. And let me reiterate before I go into these tirades. I love this program. I love these kids. I support these players. I support this coaching staff. But we are failing at the fundamentals of football. And it seems like it's gotten worse as the season has gone on. I don't know what to attribute that to. And I don't really care. Because here's the thing. Sometimes in life, the answers don't make you feel any better. Or they don't even necessarily provide a resolution. Whatever the reason for that is, it needs to be corrected. And it can't just be we're at the same place in all these press conferences and it's like, yep, we can identify the problems. Here's the thing. Identifying problems, and this is true for anyone in life just being an adult, identifying the problems that I have are useless if I can't action the correction to it. I don't understand when you can't even fundamentally get the right number of players out. And there's a lot of other fundamental issues with the team, particularly on defense. See what he has to say.
The game, when you're playing a team that you have to be in substitution type situations, and you work through those guys have to be on hand. We have to be alert as coaches and be ready to get those things done. Because if you're not aligned, you're not set, you're not ready to go, or you're not in the right position before the play starts, it's hard to be able to stop those plays.
I mean, wouldn't it be better to just have a less than advantageous play call but have 11 as opposed to 10? Just be like, screw it, we don't have time. Run this play.
Early in the week, you talked about how physical BC was up front on both sides of the line. Do you feel like ultimately that's where the game was won today?
Yeah, in the game of football, it more times than not is, and this is a tough physical game, and the lines of scrimmage are where it starts. And look, it can be you don't have to run the ball 70 times to be a tough physical team at the line of scrimmage, and that's they were able to come out. We knew they were physical, but when you're able to run the ball in the fourth quarter like they did, that's where we've got a long ways to be able to go. And both sides, I'm not saying one-sided there. Both sides be able to consistently run the ball and be able to stop the run. But it also goes with pass protection. It comes with covering kicks. It comes with blocking on special teams. It comes with all those things.
We, Key preached toughness the whole offseason. He preached it from the second Collins was fired and he took over as interim. Okay, and toughness is kind of this weird thing that it's hard to quantify. There's not necessarily a metric. Like you're playing Fight Night on Xbox or something. Oh, you have an 88 toughness rating. It shows up like you can only judge it tangentially. Like you can only see it kind of from the peripheral. I feel like we've regressed there too, and not that I guess I called the defense soft in the live show. Not that I'm necessarily calling every player soft. At times we play soft, and that's the thing. I've got to tell the truth. That's something. Let me say it this way. For me, all the things that don't have to do with God-given skill, for the most part, there's a ceiling on how fast you can be. You're like a 4.48 guy or a 4.57 guy or a 4.8 guy. You can't really improve that, right? You are as fast as you're going to be. Toughness, your mentality, how you approach the game, how you practice, the amount of effort you put in, all of that is completely within your control. And I'm not at practice. I don't know what's happening. We've got to start controlling the things we can control. Now, I'm not saying throw kids off the team or anything, but I do think we need to have a real gut check moment. And I could have sworn we would have had it after Boston or after Bowling Green. But I do feel like there's some players that might need to look at, is this what you really want to do? Are you committed to doing this? Or do you just think that we're going to walk on the field at Bobby Dodd and beat Boston College because on paper we should? If that's so, why? And if you can't shake that out of your head, this might not be the game to play.
Coach Key, do you know yet what happened on the missed PAT? And specifically, do you think it's a coincidence that was the last point that you didn't score in the game? It was a psychological thing.
No, I don't think so. I do know what happened, but we'll get it corrected in the house.
Yeah, that's another thing. So, played really horribly defensively. Again, that's not me attacking anyone. 560 yards of offense is enough evidence to prove that. But then we have special teams issues. Missing an extra point can win or lose you games. So now instead of a score tying, you're down by 1. The problem was a bad snap with it. we're getting worse at special teams, I feel like, throughout the year, too. We had, some decent returns with Leary, one of the best returns we've had of the year with Leary today, so that's good. But making extra points should be automatic. And I feel like in an off season, you can correct these like egregious special teams issues. Again, why? Why are we struggling to make extra points midway through the season when Key was the interim for 8 weeks? And Brumfeld, what are we doing in special teams practice? Against Bowling Green, we snapped it into a kid's face mask. Again, fundamental issues on defense, fundamental issues on offense, fundamental issues on special teams. Goal number one is we got to straighten out these fundamentals. Things that should be automatic should be automatic.
3 interceptions for Haynes King. What can you say just about his overall performance, and what you kind of see? Was he maybe forcing it a little too much in certain situations, or?
Let me answer that for Key just quickly. Yes. The answer is 100% he did force throws.
Well, I mean, interceptions aren't always on the quarterback.
A lot of Haynes Kings are now. Like, you can't justify the picks that were thrown in the past 2 or 3 weeks or 2 or 3 games. I think he's thrown, 5 in the past 2 games on 3 touchdowns? 2 of them off the top of my head were horrible. 2 of them, the defender had to put his hands up to catch the interception to protect his face mask. Please don't say that Haynes King has is not at fault in any way for those, because it's not true.
Ultimately, that's what that position is. That's a position of praise and blame. And the guys that play that position know that. They're wired the right way. And when they are wired the right way, they understand those things. And there's adjustments within routes. There's you're trying to put a ball on the money on a back shoulder, and other guy squeezed in and outfought our guy or outpositioned our guy, however how you want to look at it. No, I don't.
But that's not what happened on all of those picks. The one against Louisville where it was batted at the line and they come up with it, yeah, I get that. Throwing a 50-50 ball and the defender just wins. No one would blame him for that. But he's had 3 picks that were bad.
Well, I don't put that all on Haynes by any means. He did a lot with his legs today. Really was able to open things up with his legs. Made some good decisions, some good checks to lead to some points. Everyone's going to look at themselves and be critical when they play that position. But at the same time, everyone around has to step up and continue to do their job as well.
The objective truth is Haynes King is considerably worse now, or he looks that way. I mean, I'm just looking at the bad picks he's thrown than he was 3 weeks ago. I don't think anyone could argue that. Yes, he had 150 yards rushing and 1 or 2 touchdowns. It's great. But it's all undone with the turnovers. You undo it. One of them that he's talking about that throw to Blaylock where the guy, went to magician school and did a magic ball trick and came up with it. I still think there was better places to go with the ball on that play. The problem I'm seeing now with Haynes King is that it's like he just decides where he's going to go to the ball and forces it there, and it's more and more and more evident as the offense is struggling. The more the offense struggles, the more he forces the ball.
Coach, Dante Smith had the 1 carry. He went 11 yards, and then he didn't have another carry in the game. Is he healthy, or is there a reason that he didn't get another carry for the rest of the game?
Yeah, that was later in the game, right? I think it was the next to last drive of the game. He had a carry. He's healthy.
He had a hard run. I don't know what's going on with Dante. We talked about it on one of the live shows. I just think he's down on the depth chart, but he had a hard run. I love Dante Smith. I think he's a fantastic kid. Hopefully we see more of him.
Going back to last year, your teams have done really well when they're perceived to be the underdog, especially like by multiple touchdowns. But
Yeah.
when you've come to being the favorite like today, the results have been a lot different. Is there anything you can put your finger on that would cause the difference in that?
No, I mean, I wish there was. We did things this week to really, it's not the underdog favorite. I mean, that's not something we look at by any means at all. It's more the way you play versus.
I believe that, by the way. I do believe that he doesn't, like him in his mind doesn't play into that. I can't speak for anyone else.
You're varying opponents, and there's a standard of consistency that we have to get to. We talk about, playing to a standard and showing the standard, but there's no way that's become who we are. And it's so many things. It's the way you play within the plays, but it's also the things that happen between the plays, and after the series when you come to the sideline, all those things go into that to the really the mindset and the way you have to be in winning. But no, I don't. There's nothing I can put my finger on and say certain games this or certain games that. But we've got to continue to search and find out how to become consistent in all games and all quarters of the game.
I think that's a fine answer. I mean, there isn't an answer to that, and I do think there's nothing that he feels like he can put his finger on to say this is the magic pill that solves that problem. I don't know what it is. I don't know why we don't play well at home. I swear to Christ, if I see any of you typing in the comments, it's because there's not enough fans there. Again, let someone smarter type. Disconnect your keyboard, put it away, throw it into the tall grass, give it a rest, and then go touch some grass after you do that. You probably need to.
You mentioned some guys going and maybe not running the right option routes, but obviously no Eric Singleton today, and then I think Chase maybe played a snap. How much of an impact does that have, and kind of what's Eric's situation?
Yeah, Eric's been sick. Nothing injury-wise with him. He's been sick. We're hoping he will be better, back ready to go today, but he wasn't. So, hopefully we'll be able to get him back for the next game. Chase, he practiced all week and he looks good, and then comes into the game. And again, I don't know the rep counts as of now of everybody that was in there. So. They're two really good football players that help open things up, and they're playmakers.
Respect that. I like the decision. If you don't feel like a kid is, not that anyone's ever 100%, but if he's not good enough to go in a way that he can be competitive, or if him playing would be more of a hindrance because he's just he's sick or he's injured or whatever. Yeah, it needs to be next man up. Love Eric Singleton Jr. Fantastic wide receiver. We have other fantastic wide receivers too. Christian Leary, I think, has been playing better and better every week. Struggled this game, had some bad drops this game, but you got to shake it off. And step up next game. Hope to see Chase Lane too. That's the other thing. We kind of took a step back at wide receiver today, and not that I'm picking on any one position group, that they've all are not playing up to the standard that we know that they can, and that's what's frustrating is we know we have the ability to be better, and we're not. It's not showing up on the field, and there's going to be a lot of frustration that comes out of that.
Anything else for Coach? If you want to wrap this up.
I imagine I know you're frustrated. I know you well enough to understand that, but just kind of what's the message now? This having two kind of clunkers at home after showing so much promise in some other games on the road.
Yeah, it's like I say all the time. It's come in tomorrow, address the problems, address the issues, correct those things. Stay true to what we're doing, the process of what we're doing, make adjustments where needed, find answers to things that need answered, come in and put the work in and have the guys in that position where, no different than after a win where you can't get, you can't get too high in situations. It's the same thing, because look, when I stand up here, I stand up in front of the team. I mean, these guys right here, they're all looking at me, right? They're looking at what I say, how I react, how I do. I mean, that's the job as the head football coach. That's the job as someone to lead others, and we got to find the guys that want to lead along with it. All right, we've got a good crew of those guys, but a team can be eroded very, very quickly from a few as opposed to a lot. So that's the thing we've got to look into and make sure that we've got a consistent group of guys that are coming to work and all in for the right reasons, and that's no different than we do every single week.
Thank you, Coach.
All right, thanks, guys. Go Jackets.
All right. That was difficult to get through again. Just to add insult to injury with the nonsense audio issues. Thanks, Georgia Tech, for representing the engineering brand. Again, reach out to me if you need help with that. But let me say this. Let me say it again. Let me say it clearly. I love Georgia Tech. I'm Georgia Tech, win, lose, or tie. I bleed white and gold till I die. I'm going to support this team. I'm going to support our coaches as long as I think they can be effective. Young team, almost entirely new coaching staff, a lot of growing pains. This is going to be part of it. I said again in the live stream, I think this is the I think we're at the low point now in this season, year one under Key. And I think it's going to get better from here on out. I support Coach Key. I think Key's I'm sure Key never watches this. I don't know. I've been wrong about that stuff before, and I'm sure Key thinks I'm a total turd idiot, and he'd be right. I'm in the business of getting people to view my videos, and he's in the business of winning football games. And I think we both are compensated fairly for our contributions to that. I just hope those two things converge sooner rather than later, where I'm getting views because Georgia Tech's winning. He's getting praise because Georgia Tech's winning. I hope you guys are having a great Sunday. Go Jackets. Sorry, I forgot to say, if I didn't say it earlier, if you want to become a member, there's a join button right below the title of the video. If you're on mobile, there's a link in the description of the video. I'll react to the player interviews. Should be interesting. So help support the channel. You also get custom emojis, get added to a members only chat, all sorts of good stuff. So if you're interested in that, I would appreciate it. Y'all have a good one.